Well-known trade union advisor and founder member of Freedom for Öcalan campaign, Bert Schoenberg. Thanks for joining us today.
Erum, it's always a pleasure. Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you. So let's start with the Abdullah Öcalan's situation, as the 15th February international conspiracy is coming as well. Abdullah Öcalan has been held in isolation in prison for 23 years now. He has been denied visits from his family and lawyers. There are now concerns about Öcalan's health and whereabouts. Can you comment on this treatment first of all?
Well, it's very sad, Erum, that we even have to be speaking about this, as we have done on several occasions previously. It remains an absolute scandal that Öcalan continues to languish in jail on Imrali Island, and his treatment goes contrary to any concepts of basic decency. And it goes without saying that the sooner he is released, the better. The fact that he's denied visits from his lawyers, from his family, and from his friends makes a bad situation even worse. And there must be a grave concern about his health.
Thank you. What is the importance of freedom of Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan and delisting the PKK from terrorist organizations list? As many people are saying, keeping the PKK on forbidden organizations list and keeping Mr. Abdullah Öcalan under isolation is two different faces of the same problem, actually. So how would you evaluate that?
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Erum. I think Öcalan is seen, particularly by the Erdogan regime in Turkey, as a very dangerous individual, and therefore they believe it's in their interest to keep him behind bars. And they're probably, from their perspective, they're probably correct, because as we know, Öcalan is an extremely influential man who would have a great part to play in any future peace process. But sadly, I think that goes against the interests of Mr. Erdogan. When it comes to the PKK, it's difficult to avoid coming to the conclusion that it suits the interests of the current Turkish regime to have the PKK classified as a terrorist organization, because that gives them carte blanche to attack them wherever they may be. And we have seen we've seen the Turkish assault on the Kurdish people, not only in Turkey itself, but also particularly in Iraq, where many Kurdish civilians have been killed under the guise of chasing and hunting down what the Turkish authorities class as PKK terrorists.
Thank you. What was the target by taking Mr. Abdullah Öcalan as a hostage with the February 15 international conspiracy 23 years ago?
It's significant, isn't it, that Öcalan wasn't just lifted by the Turkish authorities, but he was captured by a combination of intelligence services, Western intelligence services. If you look back 24, 25 years ago, outside of the immediate Middle East, outside of Turkey, I don't think the plight of the Kurds was particularly well publicized to the rest of the world, but clearly the various intelligence agencies, and particularly the Turkish government, I think they realized how potentially dangerous Öcalan was. He was clearly an inspirational leader, and so a decision was made to take him out, if I can put it that way. A decision was made to remove him and jail him. And so it can only be seen. It's almost a mark of respect for him, really, that they thought he was such a dangerous character that he had to be taken out of circulation.
Thank you. This conspiracy has also driven the Kurdish issue to an unsolvable state. How do you evaluate the isolation on Mr. Abdullah Öcalan and the approach of the EU and the ECHR as well?
Well, as we know, Öcalan's imprisonment goes against the fundamental principles of the European Convention on Human Rights. That's largely been ignored. I think, as we've discussed before, Erum, I think the attitude of the European Union, and I should say, and Britain as well, now that Britain is outside the European Union, the attitude of the European Union is little short of shameful. Again, I can't help thinking that much of the European Union's reluctance or reticence to intervene in any way to help Öcalan regain his freedom is to do with their Fortress Europe policies on immigration. As we know, a deal was made some years ago now with Turkey to ensure that refugees coming from conflict zones, some of them actually conflict zones because of the actions of European states, particularly Britain. And I think that's one of the key factors in the European Union's attitude and lack of interest in doing anything concrete to help get Öcalan released.
Thank you. Just to underline it, why do you think EU and institutions of the EU still are silent on the Kurdish leaders Abdullah Öcalan's isolation? Why they don't change that? Why they don't put pressure on Turkey to end the isolation?
Well, I think it's as I just said, Erum. I think they think there's a bigger picture here. It's in the European Union believes it's in their strategic interests to keep Öcalan isolated and allow and turn a blind eye to what the Turkish government and the Turkish military is doing to the Kurdish people in Iraq and Syria. And of course we can't forget that Turkey is part of NATO, which has led to some interesting contradictions to say the least. We've seen the recent attempt to free the prisoners, the ISIS prisoners in Iraq, that was repulsed by Kurdish forces and supported supposedly by the United States. And yet there's also evidence to say that Turkey, the Turkish government under Erdogan, was actually supporting the ISIS people in trying to free their comrades who were imprisoned. So there's all sorts of strategic interests at play here, and unfortunately, I think Öcalan has almost become a pawn in a bigger game.
Lastly, what is your expectation and message for the Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan and the Kurdish people as well?
Well, I'm not sure Mr. Öcalan can get any messages from us at all, but all we can say to him is how much we admire his fortitude. Tell him to stay strong, and to the Kurdish people, tell them that they are not alone. We are on their side, and we will keep struggling until their freedom is achieved.
Dear Bert Schoenberg, a well-known trade union advisor and founder member of the Freedom for Öcalan campaign, thanks for joining us. Thank you for your valuable comments today.
Erum, thanks again. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.